Welcome back everyone. Today we've got another devlog. We managed to hit over 400 subscribers and over 100 Discord members, which is pretty awesome. And also I'd like to give a huge thanks to my lovely patrons. You're all fantastic. Although I think it's time to actually get to the point. I'm kind of in like that weird space where I'm practicing to take my SATs, and I'm also trying to do like a bunch of other stuff, like keep up with the game dev community. I'm also trying to look for a voice acting coach, so that's a thing. Yeah, I know what you're saying. Why would I want to be looking for a voice acting coach? Well, I've actually recently taken kind of an interest in that industry, and I think it would be an awesome skill to have, so that way I can make like better videos and I can write better stories. I also started making a mod for Terraria, which is, by the way, one of my favorite games. It's called the Archery mod. It basically just adds a bunch of bows, whatever. Everything related to archery is pretty much in that mod, and I got really into it, and now I kind of like modding a lot. So I made a lot of new levels, which each have a pretty good amount of new content. They've got moving platforms that make you wish you were on solid ground, and jumping piranhas that bear striking resemblance to Cheep Cheeps. They'll ruthlessly knock you into the water. Boy, that's a tongue twister. I've also made sure that when you fall in the water, you spawn back to the place you were before you jumped, instead of getting put all the way back to the end of the level. It helps keep the pace of the game so you don't have to restart every single time you die, because you're gonna die in this game. That's just a known fact. The player controls are reworked because they didn't really make sense before. Like when you moved before, physics would just decide to nope out of existence and let you stop or turn around instantly. And this area right here is where the first main cutscene starts, and is also the first place you're gonna see the orc enemy. The orcs kind of just throw spears and run around, but they're actually pretty fun to fight against. I also would love to know which kinds of videos you like more. This one's not a scripted video, at least not very much. There's just a couple points that I've written down that I want to talk about, but the previous ones have been completely scripted. I just want to know, do you like the more casual ones or the more scripted ones? So for art, I made this cool little area, this cutscene over here. It's got a nice tent and a campfire, which is supposed to resemble kind of like a house for this professor over here. He's a scholar kind of dude, and you can tell by the hair. Dude, that hair just like screams rich dad or scholar or something like that. I don't know. But I'm not going to say anything else about this cutscene because it's going to kind of give the backstory away, so you're just going to have to use your imagination. I did a ton of resprites and tweaks, and I also made this abomination. It's horrific, and I'm glad that it's been burned. I did manage to draw all the orc animations and actually finish the enemy completely. And I actually think that the animations are pretty smooth. My art flow has definitely been increasing since I've started practicing. I also made this quick mock-up of the Ashlands. It'll be a nice reference for when I have to start designing it. So I mainly started working on the piranha to make sure it doesn't do this. Also took me an hour or two to program the moving platforms because I wanted to make sure that they didn't glitch inside the player and actually had reasonable physics. Although I did make a completely customizable projectile system, which somehow is a first for me. Why don't we go ahead and take a look at how it works. So, first I needed to have a parent object that all the other projectiles can inherit code from. This way I'm not copy-pasting code in every single projectile, otherwise things are going to start to get really messy. Then I created a ton of variables like damage, knockback, speed, blur, gravity, etc. After that, I made the actual projectiles. This is the easiest part. All I need to do is have it inherit code from the projectile parent, which contains the AI for movement and collision, and then just set the damage, knockback, speed, or whatever I want. If I want a blur, I simply set blur to true. If I want it to have no gravity, I'll just set the gravity to 0. For projectiles that have arcs, like the spear that the orc throws, I made a special function that takes in an arc argument, which determines how much of an arc you want the projectile to have. This function also makes the thrower of the projectile, in this case the orc, throw the projectile farther when the player is farther away. To make another projectile, all I gotta do is duplicate the spear projectile and then give it a sprite. Then I can change whatever stats I want. Alright, so I think it's time to reveal my plans for this game. My vision for Bitlands is pretty basic. I just wanted to make a normal platformer that has a basic storyline. My ultimate goal was actually to learn as much as I could about programming and specifically pixel art. But besides all of that technical stuff, I'm trying to plan out the other worlds in the Bitlands. I also made a ton of music, including the background music you're hearing right now. But yeah, that's all I've got for now. If you want to suggest some ideas, or actually playtest the game, you can do it right now by joining my Discord with the link in the description. And for those who are feeling a little bit generous, you can also get some special rewards by supporting me over on Patreon too.